Manually designing precision acquisition circuits is a thing of the past. With Signal Chain Designer by Analog Devices,
Play is in our DNA. Whenever we let it out, it becomes our superpower. Now imagine an entire city being built to supercharge it. Kadir City, powered by Play. Play is in our DNA. Whenever we let it out.
This ain't no regular thing. I came for the ring, you know what I mean. You see my name in the lights, better get right, I'm champion.
City being built to supercharge it. Kadir City, powered by Play.
The human body was built to move. Not trapped at a desk in one singular posture for 12 hours a day. It's time your chair evolved. This is Secret Lab Titan Evo. Ergonomically engineered for you, gamers, hybrid workers, artists, backing your every move.
Two teams will lock in their place in the playoffs, moving them one step closer to EWC glory. But for two other teams, it's the end of the road, as the first elimination matches take place. 100 Thieves will take on the young Turkish stars of BBL, with a spot on the main stage on the line. and Team Vitality are just one win away from a home crowd. But standing in their way are the reigning world champions, NRG. While two of the top 3 teams from Masters London find themselves on the brink of elimination, with Edward Gaming facing off against RRQ and Paper Rex playing the local favorites, Carmine Corps. One loss today for any of these teams sees them eliminated from the tournament, heading home in last place. No trophy or club championship points secured. This is their last chance to stay alive at EWC. Day 3 is here.
You heard it from Mitch. It is do or die here for some of our teams. Others will be able to secure their first spots in our playoff bracket that kicks off for week 1 officially next week. We welcome in our analysts on the day as I am your host, Chris Puckett. We've got 2 fantastic casters. It's Avril alongside of my man, Mitch, a.k.a. Pilsky. Pilsky, I want to ask you about your team so far from the Pacific. You, of course, are the excellent caster from down under. What have you seen from your squads, and how do they start riding the ship now that the pressure's on day 3? Speaking of the Americas, we have some teams in those play-ins. G2, not one of them, but NRG is. We will see them here on the B stream. Meanwhile, over on the A stream, 100 Thieves are kicking things off. So, Avril, thoughts on the Americas squads and also the EMEA teams that are in action today?
I mean, it looks like an all EMEA America event so far. Longshim, like you sort of said, Pilsky, the only non-Americas, only non-EMEA team to actually make it through. So G2 kind of scratching their heads a little bit here. Everybody else pretty happy with their performances. And now today, we'll be sending the first teams through the playoffs.
It's been a fun ride, and this is week 0. We are just starting things here in the Valorant world at EWC. But if you're just joining us for the first time, let's explain how this whole thing works.
Valorant is back at the Esports World Cup for a second year, and this time everything is bigger and better. We've added an entire extra week of competition, made sure all matches are at least a best of 3, and added an extra $750,000 to the prize pool to bring it up to $2 million. You don't want to miss a single second of this. 16 of the world's best teams have earned a spot here at the Esports World Cup. As the EWC 2025 winner, Team Heretics from EMEA have been invited back to try and defend their crown. They are joined by the Stage 1 winners of the VCT Regional Leagues, G2 Esports from Americas, Paper Rex from Pacific, and Edward Gaming from China. As Team Heretics won VCT EMEA, but already qualified to EWC as the title defender, the second place EMEA squad, Team Vitality, also received an invite. The remaining teams all battled their way through the online qualifiers to make it here. 3 teams from EMEA, Pacific, and the Americas earned spots through each region's qualifier, while the top 2 teams from the China qualifier also advanced to LAN. We kick things off with a GSL group stage featuring 4 groups of 4 teams. Teams will play a double elimination bracket. Win 2 matches, and you advance to playoffs on the main stage. Lose 2, and you head home early. All group stage matches will be a best of 3. The top 2 teams from each group will advance to the single elimination playoffs. Matches here will also be a best of 3, until we reach the grand final, where 2 teams will face off in an epic best of 5. There will also be a third place decider match, played just before the grand final. That's everything you need to know, so let's jump straight into action. It's time to kick off Valorant at EWC 2026.
We started Group A back on day 1. It is now day 3, and this is your elimination match. We've got Edward taking on RRQ. You're fighting for your life in this part of the tournament, but the good news in 2026, it's best of 3. So, Pilsky, not only are we adding $750,000, we have much longer matches, and these teams have had more time to prepare coming off a big major in London. Expectations for our squads today. Do you think they got enough rest to come in ready?
I think so, especially for RRQ, because unfortunately, Puckett, they had a very short match against the 100 Thieves. They did not need to play their way through very, very many rounds to be getting through that best of 3. EDG, though, had to work a little bit harder and unfortunately were overcome by BBL in their opening game.
I think High expectations for this squad. So let's take a look at some of the big moments, though, from yesterday. As Avril, we have some teams moving forward, one match away from getting into those playoffs, others one away from having their key eliminated.
Exactly, and that's a big problem here. I mean, EDG are a team with high expectations. Talk about the fact that they already have a top 3 from Masters. They've won China. They have been the former world champions as well. They have to come into this event, unfortunately, as the team that has to sub in a coach, which is similar to what we saw last EWC with Shilai Gaming, but this time it's going to be EDG side. And for China, struggling just like Pacific is so far, it's been a bit of a rough one so far. They need to find redemption today.
Yeah, have a look at the highlights here, and this is a moment to forget, unfortunately, for Global Esports. Debuting in with a new head coach, an absolute slobber knocking, handed out by MIBR. I don't know, man. It gets hard, even counting on one hand for me, honestly. And I don't think that that necessarily is something that you have to be too concerned about for GE. It was a rough series, all things considered, but they're going to have a little bit longer to digest that opening game and wait until tomorrow to head into that elimination match for themselves.
On the other side, Aspas for MIBR was my player to watch for this squad. He was just heating up towards the end of that series. MIBR is going to be in that play-in match a little bit later tomorrow. And Avril, I know there's some high expectations for the Brazilian org trying to represent Americas here.
This is their first international of the year so far. We talked to Aspas in that post-match interview. They're going to take it one step at a time, but I think they've already found some decent success. And I'm not just talking about this tournament so far in what was EWC. They took down Leviathan 3-0, the current winners from the most recent Masters tournament. So the reason why Liv aren't here.
WC, but it's the Gentlemates still alive in the winners bracket, and that was not the thought after watching game number 1 in this series. XLG came out swinging Pilsky, and Athena thought, well, the other squad, they were going to be taking care of business. How did you get to see a rebound going into game 2 and 3? Because a 13-1 was a huge bounce back.
I mean, the rebound was mostly off the back of both Martin as well as Sazo going ballistic. I think they got a 40 bomb in regulation of the second map just in the first half between them. So that was difficult for XLG to deal with. I was watching this opening game thinking that it was going to go quite well for China. And quite honestly, I think Gentlemates took that first map defeat as a bit of a challenge, and now you're going to start to see the highlights rolling for them. It was unbelievable to see their performance here on Lotus, and for Shilai, a head scratcher to see them actually move away from that triple centi comp that they've been playing. Didn't go particularly well for them.
Great success on the triple centi in their history. This is the type of composition that the win rate hasn't been amazing so far, so they wanted to change it up, play more of a double duelist, and what ends up happening is they completely fall flat. You have a 13-1 Lotus, like, oh, that's even like worse than GE's results. And like we talked about the fact that that was probably some of the worst performances we had so far this tournament. Well, now you got a new winner in there. Shilai on Lotus, yeah, that's one to forget.
Yeah, I would totally agree. And then third map, you did see Gentlemates come out ahead. A little bit more of a pushback from Shilai Gaming, but as it stands, unfortunately, they'll be heading into that elimination match. Chinese team having a little bit of a struggle, and I think with EDG in the elimination match as well, we're kind of wondering how many teams coming through from this Chinese region are going to be doing well for themselves, because EMEA, they're on home turf and they're looking very comfortable in a lot of these opening games.
Martin dropped 20-2 on Raisin, 1/2 of a single game. I think he is going to be one of my favorite players from day number 2. If you missed any of the action, we're all on YouTube. Scroll back, watch the games in between our breaks, because these teams are still playing here tomorrow and throughout the day tonight. If you're looking for stars to maybe bounce back from XLG, is there a stud on that lineup you're excited to see?
Yeah, 100%. I think you need to see No Man and Happy Way pick up the level of performance to what we've seen in some of the recent Masters tournaments and international events. XLG is a team that always does better than the sum of its parts, but unfortunately we saw them go back to kind of the vintage style of XLG, where they're getting hard carried by one player, Raga, on the duelist role, just really kind of dragging the team, kicking and screaming through the game, and they needed a bit more of that well-rounded performance that we're used to seeing from them.
He had like a 1v4 ace yesterday, all for naught. Avril, though, if you're looking at some of the rookies, I think Prox was an excellent story for the Gentlemates. His first ever LAN, you're doing it in a $2 million tournament. He's walking away with his first ever match win on LAN. Talk to me about the rookies in the competition, knowing that we're also going to see Zan in a lineup today.
Yeah, we've still got Sayonara a little bit later on as well, so plenty of amazing rookies to play through. Proc's probably, looking at him stat-wise, probably still needs to step out a little bit more, but, you know, we've got young players coming up on the stage for the first time. We are going to be looking at Vitality on the B stream at some point later after this game, probably, where Sayonara on that team, another rookie, probably contender for Rookie of the Year, is someone that's been really a massive factor for that team, so a lot of talent to look out for.
We've been in the weeds quite a bit, but let's pull back a moment and update you on where we're at in our group. So, Pill, the group sorted out so far. Has it been the expected results here in Group A? 100 Thieves was able to come out swinging. Edward Gaming was caught with that L, and of course, BBL Esports was able to move on.
I think at least in Group A, we've seen the expected results. I think RRQ underwhelming at another international. 100 Thieves came in after a boot camp, very well prepped, very well hungry to win, and they showed exactly why they're in such fine form. And then EDG going down to a BBL team that's always dangerous at internationals because unfortunately they're playing with a substitute player, so that is weakening their squad, especially with Smoggy, you know, sitting on the sidelines for the moment.
We'll be diving very much into that Edward RRQ match in just a moment, but let's keep it rolling as we show you the other groups over in Group B. This one was, of course, led by Team Vitality and Carmine Corps, the French battle on the opening day. Vitality, they're kind of the kings of EMA for now. They were able to win that matchup.
Yeah, they did so in a 2-0 fashion as well. We probably would have liked to have seen KC show up a little bit more, but they know they're the underdogs. I think everyone looking at that team knows that in that particular matchup, they will be the underdogs. And I think in this group of depth, they are probably the fourth best team that need to really put on a massive showing to beat teams like Paper Rex now, which is going to be an insane matchup for them.
I was going to say, how wild is it that Paper Rex is going to be playing in an elimination match already?
I mean,
the NRG draw
it just makes me upset, but at the end of the day, it is a very stacked group, so you can only really play the matches that are in front of you. If Carmine Corps makes it out of that group, full respect, boys, you definitely deserve to play on home soil in front of your home crowd, because that is honestly a group that is stacked like pancakes.
There's going to be some depression in Pacific if Paper Rex go out of groups. If Paper Rex gets group, that would be one of their worst internationals maybe ever. Paper Rex is typically a team that you expect to go pretty deep, have 2 back-to-back grand finals in a row, 2 second places in a row. They're looking for another first place. They won Masters Toronto. They won that first place again at some point. They keep coming in second, but right now, already in the lower bracket facing elimination is not the Paper Rex we expect.
We covered it pretty highly in the highlights, but let's take a look at Group C one more time. Nongshim was able to come out and, of course, represent strongly for Seoul and the rest of Korea. On the other side, you've got G2 Esports, my boy Baby Bay, saying, this is our London. We bombed out of London. This is our new London. Are they bombing out already?
I'm hoping not, but at the end of the day, Nongshim is Nongshim. They will just disrespect you. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what region you come from. Nongshim will run their game plan and they will run you down. If you cannot stop them, they unfortunately will be taking the dub. And at the end of the day, our Master Santiago winners, who unfortunately have had to go through a little bit of an identity crisis recently, have shown that they are still well and truly good enough to be able to win that game. We'll turn our attention now, though, to this matchup between Edward Gaming and RRQ. This is an elimination game. Both of these teams went out in groups in the last EWC, but very different trajectories here. I think for Edward Gaming and RRQ, a little bit of a slow start to the year, I would say, honestly, in kickoff, although EDG was able to make it to the international, and RRQ, unfortunately, after 3 international qualifications were not. I'm looking at EDG coming in hot despite the substitution, because they have been able to do quite well recently at Masters London.
I think RRQ is definitely the team that need to be able to show that international performance. You're someone that's been quite critical of the fact that, okay, domestically, RRQ have been fantastic. Internationally, not so much. EDG, they've had great runs in China. They've had great runs internationally. They've really seen the peaks of where Chinese Valorant can go to, but currently, they're the team that sort of has to still figure some stuff out. Don't have their full roster here. RRQ do. But RRQ just kind of have this thing on their shoulder, the bugbear that still kind of drags them down, where they just haven't found anything internationally of worth at all.
Zan, of course, the rookie on this roster to look out for. Jemkin is my star. He popped off on the jet, and even though we had some tech issues on day one, the man just chilled out. He relaxed. He reclined. He saved up all of his power and unleashed it in game. We hear him getting fired up backstage already. And on the other side, of course, we have Edward with signed in the top left. Now, that is not a face that I saw at London when they finished top 3. So who is this guy? Because apparently both of you had your coach whistles behind him at one point in your career.
I'll start first. I mean, he came onto the scene in the Oceanic scene, and I coached him first on his first team in Direwolves. And later, at some stage, he also landed on a couple of your different teams, and now all the way in China, played through the Chinese region, and eventually landed coach for EDG.
And Pilsky, what is the situation? Why is Sign playing today for those who aren't on Reddit every day?
I'm pretty sure Smoggy just has some kind of medical issue, so unfortunately couldn't represent EDG at this tournament after some really good performances over in London. So Signed coming off the assistant coach. There was a couple of substitute players, honestly, that would have been quite serviceable here for EDG to come into this tournament, but we just saw CB go back to Nova, so I think EDG's bench was a little bit drier. Maybe this was a bit of a last-minute thing, and at the end of the day, Sign will have to step in here. He's been playing the Phoenix, he's been playing a little bit of this and that, trying to be flexible for the team. Having a look at the veto here, RRQ double down on the Ascent pick after getting obliterated by 100 Thieves in their opening game.
Whoops.
I'll tell you what, though, I mean, first of all, they're going to get rid of their permanent ban on Split, but the Ascent game to me is interesting because this has typically been a map that EDG don't pick very often. They do like to ban this one as well. I think the broadcast was a little surprised that EDG themselves actually picked Ascent versus BBL, and looking at the results of that game as well, I mean, you'll have to say that RRQ did better in their matchup on Ascent than EDG did versus BBL, so that could be a point of contention. But Breeze then comes in, instant response where, I mean, this was the map that RRQ just got blown out on.
I mean, they have not got a good record on it, despite some kind of behind-the-scenes murmurings that RRQ might be pretty decent at this map. Unfortunately, just haven't seen the results to back that up at this point. They've been losing it quite a bit, and for EDG, it's a map that they played a lot domestically, a little bit internationally. They know the ins and outs of this map, and they're quite happy to punish that sore spot of RRQ's map pool. Lotus is a third decider. We already see EDG actually be able to play that so far in this event here. Puckett, they got an OT win over BBL. So I think that's super important to get an actual rep on the map that's going to be in the map pool with your substitute player, maybe playing some off rolls for one or two of these players, because there's some level of comfortability there and you've already got at least a dub on it.
Yeah, not just a map, it's a map win. So great start there for the assistant coach in his first fill-in match. They fall in that opening round. Now it's time to bounce back. For RRQ though, you mentioned it, Ascent is in the mix. Do you expect a different comp? Because they got abused by the Phoenix, if I remember correctly.
Probably not. I think they're just going to run it back. I think that they're going to look at that series as a severe underperformance yet again. If I'm the coaching staff of RRQ, if I'm Jovi sitting behind the boys, I'm thinking that that just wasn't it from us. We've got a lot more to show, and let's just back ourselves and be confident in our approach. I don't think you need to overthink it. And the thing is about a tournament like this, and every international tournament, now you're playing a completely different team to someone like 100 Thieves in terms of experience, in terms of the region that they come from, and stylistically. So I don't think that you really need to overthink the loss versus one team in particular and an underperformance on your side. And they're going to have to make sure that the performance is better, because the map pool, at least for the opening two, is very similar to the game against 100 Thieves. They've already got smashed on two of these maps, and they've got to play the same two again here.
Avro, I wanted to ask you a little bit about agents. If we're going to kind of welcome in some new viewers, who has been the most important or most impactful agent? Who is the big ultimate to look out for? And of course, is it an operator or double duelist run meta? What are we looking at currently in Valorant?
Yeah, I'm going to talk about EDG right now. Kung, the star player of that team, on his jet, on that operator. That's something that A-Stream broadcast want to see a lot more. He opened up with that on the very first map, but then decided to play Chamber for the next two maps in the match against BBL, and kind of fell flat. I don't know if that's because of the agent pick necessarily, but certainly he had a lot more impact on that first map from the jet. So A-Stream wanted to see more jet. I want to see more jet from Kung today as well.
If we can, production, I'd love to get some cameras on the RRQ players and have Pilsky walk us through some of these personalities. I know we've got a minute or two to get everybody in the lobby and ready to go. So, Pilsky, you've had a chance to watch these guys for 6 months now, maybe 7 months as a squad.
2 years.
Make it 2 years officially. I'm sorry you've had to watch their international failures for 2 years. Today, they're going to make you proud. If that is a true story, what are you looking at? What could you be excited about after watching this squad for 2 years? Where have they looked their best?
Xferio needs help. Honestly, like, he was carrying the boys in that opening game against 100 Thieves. Jemkin is more than good enough. We've seen his ceiling in Pacific to dominate this whole series. They've got all the pieces that they need. They've got a great caller in Crazy Guy who's able to pull off some good individual plays. Really, they need kickoff Cushy in his rookie performance coming into Pacific in that Enit role, maybe mixing in a little bit of Phoenix there. I need to see Cushy putting up good numbers, and Zan needs to show some of that performance that we've seen from him in Tier 2, because it seems like the international stage is a little bit too much for him to bear, at least in his opener. That was a debut to forget.
Might as well bring up the fact that you had a bunch of these players also playing in the ENC qualifiers who couldn't make it through either. So this is one of the few opportunities when you make it to an international. RQ, again, they have that sort of problem where they just can't quite get anything done here, getting grouped here. You'd say versus EDG on paper, probably not a big surprise, but at the same time, you know, Pacific is just kind of falling by the wayside. RRQ at the front of that, maybe GE as well. Now for the opportunity for them to really prove themselves, for EDG to show that they can still be the top performers as well. You talked about a certain number of players. I mentioned Kung Kung EDG. I want to see Chichu step up more as well, because he had a good run on that first map, but then Chichu, like Kung Kung, also kind of fell off.
Get into the Asian select here, and we'll see what we're going to get for Ascent, because if this is actually what we're going to be seeing, this is a pretty big change up from what we saw versus BBL from EDG. They were previously on a Chamber Phoenix comp with the Sage mixed in. Now they're going back towards something a little bit more standard. Chichu over there onto the Cypher, and we'll see if that change up is going to go a little bit better, because they did kind of get dominated a little bit by BBL, particularly their defense was having some serious problems.
Meanwhile, on the other side, you have the Veto look coming back from RRQ as well. As we'll leave Puckett away, heading into our opening match of the day here. Day number 3, first elimination game of this group as well. All to play for. Pretty even map draft coming on through.
Yeah, this will be an elimination game, so a lot of pressure on these two teams, a lot of expectation on the side of EDG. I'd say less so on the side of RRQ, given their kind of record as of late and their little bit of a rough run of form, but the ceiling is well and truly there. This is absolutely a winnable game for RRQ. No excuses whatsoever playing against EDG with a stand-in here. This is the game that you are expected to win.
Expectations high. EDG learning from their previous experiences, changing the comp up on the defense first and foremost. Jenny up first, looking to see if we can receive this A pressure.
There's a flush in hand. In he goes with Kung Kung in tow. Tailwind active. Out comes the Paranoia just to be able to try to hold this push in. The second wave of aggression does come in. In the meantime, there's been a 1-for-1 over on Cat side. RRQ trying to kick off this A split, and Cushy able to get yet another trade. Now under pressure as Gianni will finally fall, and RRQ will take control of the site.
Low HP for Cushy, but they do have the player advantage here. Sign got his 1-for-1. Kung Kung as well. Managed to find his piece. Coming through now, Nobody and Chichu. Potential for 2 angled entry here. Sage will already blocking up a decent chunk of that Cat. Means that Nobody and Chichu will now need to work together through the smoke. Zan up first in the corner. Let's see if it ends up being cleared or not. Plenty of players to swing off the back of Zan and RQ. Good shock dart that will do a plentiful amount of damage. And now I believe Zan has actually been spotted. Chichu on a crazy guy. Zan falls, and Chichu will get the clean required as the last player remaining for this opening pistol.
Oh, just a one-dimensional retake coming in. You can still see the Sage wall on Heaven. RRQ with a player advantage, knowing exactly where EDG are coming from, but still can't manage to calibrate enough peaks to be able to take advantage of the fact that they were up in numbers. That is going to be a little bit disappointing there for an RRQ that would have felt like after the trade coming through from the catwalk split and the pretty nice post-plant positioning that they were setting up there should have gotten them the pistol round. But Chichu over here on the Cypher doing quite well for himself and putting EDG on the front foot here on the defense, which they struggled on, at least with their old comp, going up against BBL.
It's a lot of work done from Nobody there as well. Had the util to just flush out Zan and the remaining members. Big push coming through from A once more. Jenny just gonna walk on inside, and Jenny will take him all down. Shooting gallery for these players, the Bulldog and the Spectre. Just be Xferin now traveling through mid. He's gonna get hunted down, no issues. EDG gonna handle this anti-eco.
Clean for them. And see if Xferro is able to really get any damage done here. Does potentially catch Nobody off guard for a moment, but with the classic, doesn't opt to take his opportunity. And a flawless anti-eco for EDG. A great start here to Resent, and a bit of a sigh of relief given the fact that they went 2-6 overall against BBL previously. This comp change so far. Got a little cleaner for them. A little bit of a roll shuffle as Signed has been coming into this roster. He has been on the Phoenix already. Now he's switching on over to the Omen, so being quite flexible to try to fill wherever it's needed here for EDG. And it does seem like there's going to be some kind of beat pressure here with the flash being prepped already by Gianni.
It's kind of what you need to see coming through when you are basically the substitute here. Going to make it work for the rest of the team. Flash through to try and help. The first peek for Nobody. We'll clear that angle, and a more slow approach as Kunka also just tucks himself away in Cat. See if Jemkin has a wherewithal to clear this one. Signed has a capability swing as well, but not going to be able to do so at the moment. Possible crossfire setup here. That's a decent paranoia that will be able to help EDG, but no responsive kills.
Sign going to TP away. That's where Jemkin does his best work. just taking his time, clearing out all the angles, taking the duels at his own pace, and now RRQ going to pick up theirs as they wall off top middle and start to pick up pace into the B side. Diving in is Chichu and Nobody, but they're not quite comfortable just yet. Under a lot of pressure, rotations coming in from Sign and Jenny.
Nobody up first. It's actually going to be the left side downstairs. Jenny for 2 so far, and he's tripling up. Nobody 1v2. Still on the site, still alive. Got a good gun in hand, but Cushy's got a better one in terms of his shots. Bounce back, cute.
Good opening pick. Pretty no-nonsense stuff. Just putting pressure on Catwalk and pivoting straight into the mid to B. Worked a treat for them, but I don't think EDG is going to be too unhappy given how much damage they were able to do. Jenny in particular, underarm flash through spawn side and gets to work with the Spectre. Now both teams a little bit lower on cash as we head into a round 4 reset. Operator already out here for Kung Kung.
Yeah, that's going to be massive. You have Jenny also quite close to ultimate sign to follow through. Cushy already on the Hunter's Fury, so should be quite bloody round 4 coming on in. No one will be walking into Kung Kung's line of sight to start with. And an early Hunter's Fury that will just be ripped straight away.
Oh, Jemkins found the entry in middle onto Nobody. It was all just A pressure for RRQ. They were never intending on actually committing in through to that execute. They were really just trying to draw out a reaction for EDG, and that's exactly what they got.
Just leaving the util on to B for the time being. Happy to play retake there. Kung Kung fills the hole in mid. No one will be crossing that moment. Xferia tucked away in towards tiles. Now the patience for RRQ.
For both sides. RRQ know that they have the numbers advantage. They're anticipating that EDG will get aggressive somewhere. You could see double flashes on Gianni. They've got the Paranoia on Sign. All of the pieces of utility you would make a mid-round play with are available to EDG, but they're choosing to just hold in this 4-on-5 and hope that the Operator can find some success.
Well, this is where they're going to start burning away on this side for utility. Kung Kung's already going to be repositioned. The one-way has been popped. Time starts to run low here. You see the spike is on the A side of the map, so that is going to be where the exit will be. Or the finish. And a late smoke could cause some problems. Drone out. I mean, you got to commit now. 30 seconds left to play through. A well-timed Paranoia as well. Crazy Guy wants to just boost up the team with the wall, but they're not getting in on the site just yet. They need to walk through Cat or somewhere. Yep. But things are just looking so difficult. Finally, Cushy onto Sign as we roll through. It's all RQ so far. One in response, and Kung Kung by his lonesome. He doesn't have a lot of money. What else can he do here?
Nah, he's just going to save the AWP. That's a really, really well-constructed split there from RRQ. Taking their time, baiting out those last couple of pieces of utility from EDG. Wall up over the dark cover in A main. Trying to punish the flood in from Heaven side if it was going to be coming in. And RRQ giving time for both Xferro and Jemkin to make their way up Catwalk and trade out effectively. It's meeting up those two arms of the push. Much better start here for RRQ. Looking like they're much more in control of this game of Ascent compared to the game that they had over against the 100 Thieves. I don't feel like they really had necessarily a good feel for the timing and the mid-rounding that 100 Thieves were showcasing in that particular map of Ascent. But here against EDG, it actually feels like they're much more familiar with the timings and what EDG want to be kind of piloting with this comp. Maybe it's just compositionally something that they're aware of, because let's not forget, EDG have completely changed their approach coming into this particular map. It's a completely different comp to what they played against BBL just the other day. So credit to RRQ. It looks like they're much more kind of switched on today, kicking off this attacking side.
Credit to the players coming through from short as well. Really setting up RRQ for success, because time was certainly running out, and that could have gone much more poorly. I don't believe Kung Kung actually fired a shot either, or he may have, but I don't think he has actually shown Operator. Which gives him another opportunity here. Posted up on A, but back over towards mid is where RRQ want to play. I mean, they have smoked off mid, so it is likely they suspect it.
Chichu will get a little bit of an action here. RRQ all walking up inside of the dark cover. At least goes 1-for-1. Jemka going down. Gianni picking out Market. This is going decently for EDG, has to be said. Nobody trying to get out of dodge. It's a nice off-angle timing onto Cushy, and self-sufficiently, he has shut down this round for RRQ. Drone pushes Sign straight into the Paranoia, or Xferro rather, and the spam through the wall will get it done. That is a very nice look for EDG, and a great follow-up given how the last round went.
Yeah, completely trapped them in over towards mid there. Got the upgrades as well. 3 plays make it out alive. Didn't even need Kung Kung to really do anything in that particular round. Another excellent couple of moments here from Chichu and Nobody in particular. Jenny, of course, getting those kills. The time for Nobody just to sneak on out of there and prevent any sort of trade from coming on through. This will be Kung posted up. Short to Cat. Could be a fast one coming through RRQ. Massive grouping could be.
Big flip on the economy there for EDG, winning themselves that half buy. It's going to give them a lot more legs on this defensive side. RRQ creeping up into B. It's just Chichu by himself. EDG have got a fair bit of information in middle.
First scan does come on through. Onto site we go through, but so many Jemkins so far. Nobody through the wall, through the cover of darkness here as well. RRQ just falling apart at this stage as all of EDG have arrived. And all EDG are ready to completely dismantle this attacking side. Cushy can't make it any further on. Nobody even saw a site for a plant.
A big smile on the face of Sign there. There's really no inroads into that B site, despite the wall going down on spawn side, the slow Elborn market. You never got that entry that RRQ were looking for. They just got stuck inside of the bow shed, and EDG completely picked them apart. Great maneuverability from both the Omen as well as the Jet. That elevation up over the Sage Wall really halts the ability for RRQ to kind of segment the push and the flood, retake in from the defense, and immediately, after two convincing back-to-back rounds for EDG, RRQ will hit that timeout button.
So sort of rethink that one, but particularly the round 5 seemed pretty backbreaking. This one will just cement the case. Change up the pacing, change up the strategy, fast on to beat, but fast in response as well is going to be EDG. Completely dismantling that one, not even giving any room for RQ to play through. 4-2 is still a close enough affair in terms of scoreline so far for RQ to make a well-timed timeout. Bring back the balance in the scoreline.
I mean, the issue really is the fact that they're kind of out of cash here. And with such a clean round from EDG, after a half-buy upset win, their economy will really be skyrocketing at this point. The objective moves from being competitive in the opening couple of rounds on your attacking side and maybe trying to reset the defense to just how many rounds can we try to chip in here? Because EDG are really starting to get on a bit of a roll, and it was a similar kind of thing between RRQ and 100 Thieves. It was a competitive first couple of rounds, but once the kind of landslide of rounds started to come through from 100 Thieves on the defense, RRQ started to very much fall apart.
Got a couple of ultimates here, at least for RQ to play through. Most importantly, the Blaze Storm, which has already been popped by Jemkin. It's a crazy guy that will just make a little bit of noise over towards B main, keep things interested. But what he doesn't realize is Kung already has an angle in mid, and despite the fact that Kung already pulled out of the scope, and he'll instantly still get that kill. No one cleared the trap, which is going to cause some problems with Jemkin. He's already going to fall over. Sign through the dark cover, no issues whatsoever. And now the rest of EDG start to corral the troops for this retake. In fact, it won't even be much of a retake because there's not going to be a plant. There's not going to be an attack.
Kangkang's just doing tricks on him. Xfero yet to frag was the standout up against 100 Thieves. That's a couple of nice sheriff shots, but Kangkang will end it. 4K for him coming in on that Heaven retake, and a 5th round for EDG.
Yeah, a couple of cheeky kills there to know that RQ is still alive, at least somewhat here, but EDG really feeling the momentum here, how quickly they're responding to the plays coming through from RQ. Read by Kung as well to know that, okay, we'd had some presence into B main. If they cross through tiles, that's going to be a freebie, and indeed that was. Now, gun round back in. Xfera on the op as well. He's actually going to be potentially looking to challenge Kung on his B line.
Yeah, Xfero loves this op on the attacking side with the veto. Something that's very, very effective for RRQ on Fracture, but haven't really seen an argument for it on this map in particular. RRQ starting to work some mid control now. Have got the dark cover down, but you can see EDG mobilizing to deal with it, and Scientist on a bit of a roll. Out comes the Paranoia and the Hunter's Fury. RRQ under a lot of pressure. Chishu bottom middle applying even more, and it's a beautiful mid crunch from EDG. Xfero didn't even get a chance to take a shot with the operator. He just gets immediately deleted by Jenny.
Yeah, he had nothing to do there. Again, mid seems to be where the victories have been taking place. 2 rounds in a row. Kung starts with a kill there in the previous round. This time around, it's Signed, calling the rest of the troops in for that crunch, as you say. As 4 players instantly melt from RQ's side, and the economy issues will now continue. They barely managed to scrape together a buy, including a very expensive operator that now falls onto the floor.
Oh, this is just looking like really rough time here for RRQ at EWC. This is the 3rd map in a row I've watched for them where they just have not been particularly competitive. Need to wake up sooner rather than later, because EDG is definitely smelling blood in the water. Kung on the front foot here, dash active. Waiting for the contact, and again it's an opener here for EDG.
And no response either. Cloudburst is nice, and Kung will double up. It's going to be spike information gained here as well. The interceptor does nothing up against the shots from Kung ringing on through. And just a third one out there to remind IRQ of just exactly what they'll be walking into as the drone will spot the rest of the players. Paranoid does come on through to force EDG to respect this push potentially a little bit. Reminder, there's no real guns coming on through. Crazy Guy won't even bother popping his ultimate. It seems like Xfair is happy to just play through this as well. Could be wrong here. Does Crazy Guy actually want to play through or not? Zan's down. Numbers looking terrible. Xfair is making it competitive.
Yeah, I mean, EDG had them pinned in on tile side, to be honest there. I was surprised that RQ were even able to exit. Wall across, just to be able to cross to Catwalk. Ooh, we've got the Evolution active here for Xfero. Could this be a big round from the Sentinel of RRQ? Deals with that trip nicely, and the plant goes down. Kung with the blades punished. A little bit overconfident. This is definitely winnable now.
It's a 2v2. Crazy Guy low HP, though. Doesn't have the... Well, he has the race, but he can't use because he's down. 1 versus 2. He's evolved, but unfortunately, this is where the timeline ends with Darwin. Chichu up for 3 this round. Got a little interesting in the middle there when a couple of kills came through from Xfero. 2 plays you see dead in tiles from EDG, but aside from that, EDG still in control. 7 found this half. They've officially actually won this half now. Let's just see what kind of recovery RRQ will have, if any.
I don't think EDG are too swayed by that. You still see smiles on their faces. They know, okay, we overcooked a little bit, but we still won the round, and there's still plenty of cash here on the defense. I don't think they're going to be slowing down this aggression. It's been nothing but pedal to the metal on the defensive side here. Very much bullying RRQ, who continue to just play this slow pacing on attack.
Well, they tried fast as well, and the fast didn't work out for them either, I'm afraid. So, slow or quick, EDG's had their number. And Kankan as well, starting to get away with this multiple times in a row. See the respect. All the smoke immediately onto Cat. Checking over towards mid as well. But they've left behind Sign here, who's been performing pretty well so far, and he has the potential to time his way into mid. And Null Command has been popped pretty quick here from Jenny.
Sign peppering away towards tiles. There's the opener that they were looking for. Jemkin finally winning an opening duel. And on to Kung. That's going to be big impact for RRQ as they look to try to open up the map. But EDG mobilizing here in the mid-round.
Not confused about that Null Command. It's gone now. Nobody is aware of utility being spent over in mid in Pizza. Now confirming that with the fact that Xfero had to shoot the dart as they see each other as well. As time starts to run on out, he'll TP back over towards B main, and now for the execute. See if they can make it through this one. Smoke will cut off EDG for the time being, and the wall as well into spawn. So this is going to be one of the first few plants that EDG will manage, or rather RRQ will manage to have.
Yeah, that's the clean execution that they were looking for on the B execute, quite honestly. Going to take EDG a while to be able to actually maneuver themselves into front side. You can see the paranoia at the ready here for Zan. Xfero's hanging around in B main. Could be a thorn in their side late as they come on in. Hunter's Fury is going to start to make them uncomfortable. Jemkin taking advantage of that. Here's Xfero inside of B main. Not dealt with yet. Chichu still under pressure, getting scanned out, spammed down from the players out on site. And this is perfection for RRQ. 4K for Jemkin. Opens up the round and closes it out as well.
Late in the day, but a flawless is exactly what RRQ need to bring back some momentum for their own mentality, for the sake of the economy as well. And as you mentioned, perfect execution. Start off with an early kill, burn away the Null Command in the middle of that round as well. Xfero then TP back over towards mid, and then they execute. Smoke out in towards Pizza. Wall up for CT. Easy plan, easy money.
Gonna need more where that came from RRQ though. Has been a strugglesome half for them outside of rounds 3 and 4. Finally breaking through in 10 after a big streak of EDGs. Got the shock dart initially. Very spread around the map is RRQ. Not many movements in middle. Odin's out for nobody. And of course, for Kung, you buy yourself another operator. It's been worth its weight in gold here.
He's got the money to play through. Odin online for nobody as well. This is what you can do with this level of cash. Another slow one from RRQ.
It's the first move here. Drone comes out, cancelled immediately by the KO knife. So all of that pressure they were looking to create with that Sova on his lonesome on the A side of the map won't really be going the way they wanted it to. Out comes the drone for nobody. Only sees the singular player outside of B main, which is Xfero, which is not really going to give you too much information as EDG.
You have Chichu pushed up fairly hard in mid as well. He's going to get smoked out for the time being, but looking to see if he can hear something. It's all soft movements from RQ as they transfer over towards Cat mid to A. Straight into the sight lines of Jenny. First contact, you'll see a head momentarily. You can see multiple heads actually calling the troops now. Close the door. Get the rest of EDG out here. He's been scanned out as well. Paranoid to assist. It's the minimum that you can expect for the rest of the team. Kong now has a lot of work to do. Nearly had a collateral there, but Jenny's got himself two as well, and this looks like a pretty damn good defense. Jenny falling back to the generator.
One suppressed.
And the last player for Xferret caught out by the KO knife, and so little he can do here up against 3.
10 seconds, he's cooked. Quite honestly, playing for exits.
10 seconds left.
Maybe a few more points towards his ultimate here, but with only 5 seconds, no time to plant. Jenny, battered and bruised on the backside of Jen, is probably the only player he's going to be able to take here with him here. And the plant, looking to just bait out an additional peek, but maybe not what he bargained for. Kung will take the weapon out of his hands, and EDG, yet another beautiful round off the back of just defending RRQ before they can even get into the post.
I mean, Jenny saw everything. He saw multiple players in the cross, instantly pops his fragment, and then walks on out of there, has support from the rest of the players. I thought Kung was going to hit a collat there, but Jenny does absolutely nothing. Then the final kill on Xferret just to keep the economy of RRQ a little honest here. And let's see how honest it looks. Looks there's some ultimates in there, still a full buy, which is nice.
Yep. Sage Rez is probably the one that you keep an eye on. I want to try to throw a body at this round early on and see if you can potentially just trade out off the back of that. Nishigutiel opening this one up, and pressure will be on Sign playing from Wine.
Jenny close by though, but not close enough to really do anything about it for the time being.
You can't drone from the same spot again, honestly, after seeing the fragment.
Oh, it's a big swing. And now, a lot of work to do here to get the rest of the players in. Nobody hasn't been flashed out. That's a good flash on the opposite side, though. It just rips apart 2 plays, but one will get raised back in. Keeping numbers good for RQ4 versus 2 here. Kung still with the operator. Has to slowly clear his way through. Dash up and ready to go, but he just wants to play, and he can't. Sam takes him down. Now Chichu might just have a little bit too much here. 8-4 RRQ. You'll say that this is a reasonable minor comeback in the first half, as we do, in fact, in this first half.
Yeah, Jemkin, couple of multi-frags on the Jet. That is the difference maker here for RRQ, who's a little bit too quiet, a little bit too average against 100 Thieves. Not a poor performance, but it never is for Jemkin. You know, his bad game is probably just going dead even. But you saw what level of impact he can bring on that attacking side in that half alone. A 3K and a 4K in 2 rounds that were picked up by RRQ. He's been good for at least half of them there on their attacking side.
A strong showing from EDG as we expected. And importantly as well, just because I know he will be the player that many will look at in terms of his own personal performance. But when you are the sub coming in, when you are the coach sub as well, eyes will be on you if the team performs poorly. But honestly, his stat line and his impact in this game was honestly quite high for Sign.
I've been telling everybody, like, you know, most people who have an assistant coach coming in, you'd be really asking some questions. Like, honestly, this guy's not going to do anything. But Sign has plenty of playing experience. I've seen him play very well against some of the best teams in the world in scrims over at boot camps and things like that.
Actual scrim god.
Yeah, bit of a scrim god sometimes. So, you know, I know mechanically he can hang with the best. It's just really a case of whether he's able to do that at the highest level of competition in an official.
Pilly,
and I think surrounded
Pilly told
by...
me Sign made Paper X cry in scrims.
I will not confirm that. He has played pretty good. And I'm a big believer in Sign. I think he's been a pretty solid player for quite a while, and clearly EDG have seen some value, at least in his read on the game. But even in the server, not doing too well for himself. I mean, Smoggy is, of course, irreplaceable, but I think, you know, just chucking Sign in there and seeing what he can get done, I don't think he's underwhelmed for EDG. Yep. Even in their loss, he wasn't necessarily the poorest performer, and he's had to play a bunch of different roles. They've been chucking him on the bloody Phoenix like he's not a duelist player.
Yeah. He flexed a little bit for me when he was on Direwolves.
He's mostly been an info init player and then flexing into like a bit of Viper, you know, a bit of controller. So he is that patented flex player.
Here he needs to just flex to allow the rest of EDG to play what they're comfortable and what they're going to be good on. When speaking of that, Kung has certainly shown that 9 and 5, plenty of operator kills as well, completely dominating on that weapon as we have the swap sides here. EDG on the attack side. Q still looking to really pick themselves up some rounds to close the gap.
Yeah, double Cloudburst and some armor here. Kung definitely wants to be the player to be able to create space on the entry for EDG. Crazy guy on the line, spotting out this push. The wall is a little late. Kangkang's in front of it. And that's a nice entry for EDG. Xfero now under pressure, pushed out by the dart. That is a nightmare scenario for RRQ.
Just 2 for nothing there. You beat the timing on the wall as well if you're Kangkang, and now the plant comes on through easily. Kangkang already made his way in towards heaven. RRQ honestly have no idea, and as nobody falls, the information goes over. It's going to be Tree. They've at least got the single scan here, which is going to be interesting, but Kangkang with a massive backstab. Not ready for that one.
Jepkin, and he'll be cleaned up by Kangkang as well. Yet another 4K from the highlight machine straight out of China. And I'd love to make some excuses for RRQ guys being from Pacific. I really would. But I watched Crazy Guy have someone in the 100 Thieves game contact up Cat when he was holding the wall out and try to shoot him on an eco, and that's happened exactly the same way here in the very next game. At some point, you have to hold your hands up and start to scratch your head a little bit and go, that's not ideal. We really need to tighten that up a bit.
Cushy likes to get his drones deleted by the KO knives as well, so we've been there, done that for RRQ, unfortunately. Do be crazy out there for Crazy Guy. Kangkang is already working his way up to a nice and early Blade Storm. Would love to find a pick here, and he's got it. Xfero, goodbye.
Drone into B main to follow up. Slow orb in reply here for Crazy Guy, who swings out, trying to, you know, bark as loud as he can. Down he goes to Kangkang, who continues to get closer and closer to his knives, and I imagine they'll probably even just give him the plant here.
Allow him to enter. If he dies, there'll be knives. No one hiding behind boxes. No one in boats either.
Straight through.
He's going to go straight in towards spawn again, just playing in the location that RRQ are not going to be ready for.
Not much to do here for RRQ. Got to once again try to dig themselves out of a poor situation. They've had really, really rough starts in both of these games here at EWC. And there's the Spectres running havoc. Off angle for Jemkin, will be backed here by Zan, but I don't even know if they're going to get a single kill. A couple of armors broken, but a flawless anti-eco for EDG.
Expected Jemkin to maybe at least get that one out of Jenny, but not going to be the case. Here we are.
You cannot pick a set into 2 teams at an international and get rolled both times. Like, it just can't.
I think for
it's
RQ,
just not going to go well for you.
They saw EDG lose Ascent. They kind of feel like maybe we did better in our Ascent game than they did, and also EDG typically don't play this map that often in terms of their bans. Well, they figured out that EDG just needed to make a bit of an adjustment to their lineup here. Suddenly we're off to the races. As someone once said, it's Kangkang's world and we're just living in it. RQ is certainly feeling the results of that.
First gun round for them though, and it's not a particularly threatening looking bonus on the side of EDG. I guess the Blade Storm is probably something you're concerned about. The single rifle on side. Here's the wall inside of B main. Nobody knows that Crazy Guy may be playing on top of that, but EDG starting to chip away now.
Door closed. Was she feeling the pressure here? A quick TP available for Xfero as well to get onto that side of the map. And that side being B is where this is likely to end with the shift over of the spike. Look how far back Cushy is playing as well.
Yeah, it's retake. He's holding his dart and his drone to try to spam them as they come on in. We've seen this sack-heavy playstyle for RRQ against 100 Thieves not go well for them. Jemkin's been dropped off on Wine. Rotation's coming across from Crazy Guy, but really they're just trying to look to pick the numbers here of EDG as they make their way up middle and the chokehold is activated.
Okay, well that's going to be the first little bit of information here, but like you said, they're just going to play for the retake most likely. Smoked out is going to be CT, which means no further impact here. Nobody on site, no issues for EDG in the last moments to try and get this plant in, which they will do. And even through the smoke here, Crazy Guy's just going to fall off.
Trying to get that spam kill off the back of the drone. Chichu, where are you off to, mate? I cannot believe that he's picked up that pick onto Xfero. Jemkin and Nobody going 1-for-1 in the meantime. It's a 2-man advantage here for EDG, who is looking to run away with the bonus and the rest of Ascent with it.
Once this round is done, you feel like RRQ's run on this map is also going to be done. Cushy dropping off on 9 HP. They just have to save the weapons here. It's their first gun round of the half. Got to do what they can to maintain some available economy, but for EDG, just too easy. They walked into essentially a free site.
Yeah.
And then Chichu with the wherewithal, the insane confidence and ego to just walk into market. He gets a kill as well.
Jemkin looking for some exits, but I don't think he's going to be given any. Remember, guys, EDG walk into this bonus round with 1 rifle, and they walk out with 4. The amount of economy that they're going to have on this attacking side when they're up 11-4 is going to be ridiculous. A timeout, I'm being told from EDG. I'm not sure they necessarily need it, to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised if it was from RRQ, but maybe EDG are looking to just make sure that they can align themselves on how to stomp RRQ a little bit harder and make sure this is 100% going to be a 13-4 here, Avril.
Yeah, just the last few rounds here, and obviously a somewhat broken economy in the sense that 3 players from RQ will come in with pistols, 2 with the saved rifles. Dismantling that one will be part of the conversation here for EDG to lock in the rest of this half, and once those guns are gone, I'm struggling to see where RQ can even find rounds here.
I couldn't tell you, mate. I know Jemkin has a Vandal, and that's usually good for a round or 2. Honestly, a hero Vandal on one of Pacific's very best duelists could be a recipe for success. The problem is, I feel like everybody on EDG is playing just as good as Jemkin right now, and Jemkin does not have as much help.
Here we go. 2 more rounds there for EDG. Only a time for them to discuss how they can keep this half flawless. They've already got the first 3. That will be a blowout 13-4 victory if this goes the way we think it might just, but there's a little bit of a buy up here. In fact, it's going to be a 0 out in the economy. But RQ, they'll go all in on this round. They want to make sure EDG are kept well and far away from that 12 as long as possible.
I mean, they just have to get some rounds at the end of the day. KO Knife will scan the fact that Sage is over towards B main. They know the Sova's at market. Is she well aware that this is a slower looking default from EDG so far? Double setup on Catwalk. This is where RRQ really want to contest EDG, but they can't overcook this one. Kang is primed.
Backed up by Jenny as well, and you see the scientist still in top mid. Trying to make his way down Cat. Looking like mid to A for the time being, but they'll eventually be walking into this double setup here, and it's Jemkin up first. You said he'd always be good with the hero rifle. Well, he's got a little bit of help with Xferia on the sidelines. He'll be able to make his way out of there, but still flashed up. Jenny doesn't know where he is, though. Jenny goes down here. Chinchu and Nobody still sharp there on site. And well, just the 2 of those players holding it strong, anchoring on B. It's enough.
I mean, that's the perfect setup for RRQ. Quite honestly, and that's exactly how you would want that round to go. Jemkin takes first contact, Xferia has it covered, then you get what is essentially a bit of a mess. Jenny bursting through, they know it's the KO on Catwalk there, no one's really playing anti-flash well enough with the cloud burst down. You should not be getting caught that hard by an underarm. And EDG, the rest of the players splitting through A main on a really nice timing. It's map point for them now, and it's looking like RRQ are about to get blown out on their map pick 2 times in a row here, most likely on their way out of EWC.
They don't have a lot of maps to play through to survive in EWC. That's certainly going to be the case. Tell you what, RQ at least got 10 rounds on this map against 100 Thieves. But up against EDG, it's looking a lot less than that. At least the first opening shot from Crazy Go that's guarding onto Kang is pretty damn nice. What else can be delivered here? Is it's going to be a bit of a slowdown. EDG still want to walk on in, and here we go. Jemkin over from Market alongside Crazy Guy in lane. That's what you want to see. Okay, it's not over yet.
You can't force your way through a literal brick wall, you know, figuratively sometimes, but the Sage wall is down there. And Jemkin, I mean, he's built like one. Let's be